to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. It is hot outside. I'm here. It's Shane Chapman with Wade Laurent. She's toasty today.
Balmy 31 degrees out today.
A little bit wet. There hasn't been rain in it's
2.5 years.
Yeah, it's rained for like half an hour last Saturday. That's all we've gotten so far. It's a dry year this year. Really dry.
That's right, last year too, right?
My throat's also dry.
We're almost in a drought, which is great for deck building.
Yeah, not so good for the farmers.
Not so good for the farmers.
Anyway, today we're going to get back to the why would you ever buy wolf decking
Reference
today.
to the video, to the YouTube show.
That's right. About to get that fired up again too. But
yeah, let's hope.
Today we're talking about wolf decking. For those who aren't familiar with Wolf, they love to refer to themselves as a challenger brand. They're not one of the big three. They are an up-and-comer, I would say. They seem to be gaining market share in a lot of markets across North America anyway. I don't know that they're like I think they're on a fairly steady incline. I don't think they're losing any markets.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes distributors drop things and you kind of lose a spot. They seem to be just kind of continuously growing.
Just a steady growth pattern, right? I think they're picking up a lot of speed in Northwest. Like, what is that called? Like in Portland. They call it
the Pacific Northwest. Is that what you're trying to get out there?
The Pacific Northwest. I was going to do
Canadian came out of you there. Right?
I was doing Upper Northwest, Mid Northwest. I was like, that's not it. None of those are right. It's Pacific Northwest. So I feel like they're gaining quite a bit of traction there. Right? When we talked to Mark, they were saying they were, adding new market share there.
Yeah.
Because they're always been fairly strong in the east, northeast.
Yep. And you're referring to Mark Fisher, who is I don't know what his official title is, the main sales guy at Wolf.
Yeah,
I
think that's actually the title I saw on his sticker, on his badge one time.
Main sales
guy.
Yeah, he's the territory manager, but his territory is the entire continent.
Yeah, North America, territory North America.
So, anyway, so Wolf Decking, a little bit about Wolf, the company, I guess. 175 years old, I think they turned last year, is that right? Or maybe it was this spring, actually, they turned. No, I think it was last year.
It was last fall.
Anyways, they're somewhere between 175 and 76. After 80 years old, who keeps track anyway?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You've been around a while.
Yeah,
so
forever.
They do a lot more than just decking. They do interior kitchen cabinetry, they do outdoor cabinetry, they do decking, they do
just PVC trim.
Just building materials in general. PVC trim, yeah, all sorts of stuff. They
really?
Either manufacture or private label, resell essentially a lot of different brands under the Wolf badge and maybe some other ones as well.
Yeah.
So quite a big company, doing a lot of things for a lot of years. We're going to stick to the decking side of things, obviously, because this is not a kitchen podcast.
Well, it could be.
We could talk about the outdoor cabinets a little bit too. But anyway, let's start with the decking. They have two lines. They're one of the manufacturers. I shouldn't call them a manufacturer because they don't technically manufacture stuff. They private label it, but they have two lines. One's a composite, one's a PVC. And so the one that people are most familiar with that are probably listening to this podcast is the Serenity PVC line. That's the one that everybody sees being posted on Instagram. That's the one people see that was used in award-winning decks at the NADRA deck competition.
Last year, right? They cleaned up last year.
Yeah, they had quite a few projects that took home awards.
I think Mark said he lost something like 5 pounds walking up to stage that night. It was like he went up and then back down and then back up. You got his steps in just at the awards event that day.
Yeah.
Right? 10,000 steps just from the table to the stage.
Good weight loss program there. Just win things. Anyway, so the other line they have is Perspective Decking, and that's their composite line, composite line. That doesn't have any distribution in Canada whatsoever. As far that might not be entirely true. There might be one retailer in Canada that carries that, but not big distribution on the composite line. I believe that the US is fairly similar. They've got fairly good distribution on their Serenity PVC line, not as good on their Perspective composite line, but where they shine is in their Serenity PVC line.
Yep.
So we're not going to go through the Perspective because I'm not super familiar with it, to be quite honest with you, and I don't want to talk about things that I don't know anything about. So it's a composite, a wood plastic composite with wood grain and a cap layer on it and a good warranty.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
And I have no idea either. I don't know what
There
the
you go.
names are. I don't know what like traction, durability, any of that stuff.
If you want to learn more about the the Perspective composite line, shoot up Mark Fisher a message on Instagram and he can answer all of those questions for you.
He's never short of words.
No, so we've had him on the podcast actually. If you're interested in hearing from Mark, we had him on the podcast a few episodes ago, so look back into that. I can't remember what we called it, but it was something about like Mark Fisher from Wolf, and maybe his title, the main sales
might know
guy.
more about him then.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get to it on the Serenity line. Great line. They are very well known for their beautiful coloring on these boards. Quite a realistic looking lineup of boards. Beautiful coloring, but not super aggressive. You know, some other brands have like really dark streaks, or it's really kind of in your face. This is not. It's more subtle. It's very gentle streaking, but there's still a lot of color variegation in it.
It's almost like there's more of it, right? It's like less contrast, but more variation, maybe, right? And so it's not like a big black streak in the board. It's a whole bunch of charcoal streaks.
That's a good way to put it. Low contrast, high variegation.
Yeah.
Good word.
Nailed it today. It's because I went to university.
Yeah. So they have two collections within their Serenity PVC line.
Yeah.
The Seaside collection and the Tropical Hardwoods collection.
Correct.
So Seaside is two colors. It's not super exciting. It's like Harbor Gray and Sandcastle. I believe are the names of those ones. That's their like non-variegated boards. It's just a light gray and like a light tanny color.
Looks like sand.
Castle-y
really
looking.
Yeah.
Without the cool factor.
Yeah.
And then they've got, what is it now? They're up to 9, I think.
Well, it depends what region you're in.
They've got, so 9. Well, they have 9. It's sort of a distribution on one
the
color.
onyx isn't everywhere.
So they got 9 colors. I guess if we were to go through them, I don't know why you would order this in any specific way, but we'll start with Golden Cypress.
Oh,
nope,
okay.
I don't.
Okay. All right.
We'll start with Golden Cypress. Let's go maybe like the least attractive.
Random. We'll go random pattern. Here it is.
So Golden Cypress, it's kind of a yellowy, I don't know, light sandy, yellowy. I don't know.
I haven't even seen I have never seen a cypress tree, so I don't know if that's what it looks like either. So.
Well, I can tell you for sure that some of the other brands that call their boards Ipe look nothing like Ipe.
Right.
So chances are.
Maybe they were just throwing darts. Maybe Mark was throwing darts in a room.
Maybe. So anyways, it sounds cool though. Golden Cypress. Sounds like a really cool color.
Yep.
Not a big seller.
Not for us.
And then I think what we'll do is just go through it like in order on our wall, because that's the easiest to remember.
Yeah, because we can look at it.
Teakwood.
Sounds good to me. Teakwood.
We have teakwood. This one's beautiful.
It's a bright color.
I like it a lot. We had a guy call today looking for some teakwood, and I always kind of like do a bit of a fist pump when somebody asks for it, because I know it's going to end up looking good and they're going to be super pumped about it. It's like, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You're going to take some teakwood. There you are. That's going to look so good.
You're going to load it up.
Yeah. Nobody else wants it because it's too bright and orange, but I think it's beautiful. So, teakwood's a great color. Pairs very well with rosewood, which is kind of like a reddish, not a bright red. Kind of like
a Bilal color.
A deep red. Yeah, right. It's more like hardwood probably than anything that they offer.
Yeah.
Because it's got that kind of like red, that natural hardwood with a little bit of oil pulls.
Yeah.
So it's a really good color. Amberwood is a light brown kind of color, like a little bit yellowy too. The yellowy brown.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that one would probably be, what does that look like to me? Stained. That's a stained cedar look to me.
Maybe, yeah.
So.
And so those, I would say that the 4 colors we just mentioned are probably, if I had to guess, that's, at least in our market, that's the bottom 4. The 4 that wouldn't sell as much.
Yeah, Amberwood gained a little popularity this year. And we should have known that was going to happen because we didn't order a bunch of it this spring.
Yeah, exactly.
And so now we're going to have to. We'll get
I'm guessing Amberwood might have a bit more traction in the States or any markets that kind of skew brown a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a nice looking board for
brown,
sure.
Right? It's not too loud, it's not too vibrant, it's just like a
in their catalog, if you have a chance to look at the Wolf brochure, there's a deck in there that's all done in black walnut with a Amberwood border, double border. Like the reverse, usually people do light in the middle, dark on the outside. This one's dark in the middle, light on the outside. Looks so good.
Who did it?
I don't know who did it. It's just in the book.
Right. Somebody, yeah.
Maybe. Probably Jeff. Yeah, exactly. Who's Jay?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I know him. I'm from
I gave you. Yeah, I just gave an answer that matched your question, just vague and like who knows and like a guy.
Yeah, we should look that up. But.
Yeah. Anyways, I guess we'll move on. We just mentioned black walnut, so we're not following the board at all over the place. Black walnut. This one's a big seller.
Huge.
Black walnut's like a nice dark deep brown with some black streaking to it. Just that subtle, not high contrast, like you said, streaking to it.
Correct.
It's a great board that works with just about everything else in their lineup as a picture frame border, but also looks great on a full deck too.
It really does. Yeah, it works with them, with all of them.
Yeah. Beside it, I would then transition to weathered ipe. And so, like, again, if we're going to talk about things that don't look super close to the real one, you know what? This one's not too far off, though. I would say weathered ipe, that's actually a really good name for it. It's like ipe that hasn't weathered all the way.
Yeah, half weathered.
Hasn't gone fully gray,
like
but
me.
It's like transit.
Right?
Wade is the weathered ipe.
Yeah, I'm not full gray, but boy, I'm not far.
Yeah, that's funny. So it's a bit of a rosy kind of. Yeah, rosy color. Like that's the best way to describe it. Like it's starting to transition.
Speaking of good
gray.
words, that's a good one. I was going to call it
bright.
peach or pinky, and so I think rose is
I think
better.
it's closer to rosy.
Yeah,
personally,
that's a better description.
Anyway, and then silver teak. This one's big. Silver teak's a big one. This is like that super trendy taupey gray, tanny gray combo that's just like on fire right now
for everyone.
And so silver teak is a big one. Beautiful board. Driftwood gray, another board that like probably is losing. If I had to guess, I don't know. I haven't looked at Wolf's sales numbers ever, outside of our home store.
Nobody sent that to us yet, hey?
Yeah, but if I had to guess, I'm guessing that one's starting to trend down a little bit. But I'm guessing it was pretty popular in Canada at one point. It's like a bluish gray, which those neutral to bluish grays were super popular like 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Even like, and they still are, but they're definitely trending
down. People are trending more towards
warmer
browns.
colors.
Yeah, warmer colors for sure.
So that one's not as big. And the one that we referenced and talked about before that we said like, is there 8 or is there 9 colors? The reason we hesitated on that is because there's a new color this year, but not available in all the Wolf markets. Like I think it's a Canadian play and some local markets in the US, but I don't think that they really pushed it everywhere. I think it's like almost like a trial color, see how it goes. And it's called Onyx. And like it's orange. Just kidding. It's called Onyx. So of course it's like a dark gray. It's not black, but it's a very, very dark gray.
Yeah, and so
with some
not only us that brought that, like kept bugging Mark for that, right? Pretty much everybody in North America would have been like sales associates to the east and sales associates to the west probably were asking for that color as well, right? So
I don't know. I know we for sure were because we had done very well in the past with a very comparable color to this from Clubhouse called Ironwood, which is a dark gray as well.
Yeah.
And we sold that crap on everything. Like it went with every gray deck that went out went with that as a picture frame.
Yep.
And so we kind of said to them like, you guys are missing out on some pretty serious gray numbers in this market by not having a dark gray option. So fast forward a little bit.
We tell that to lots of people. I tell that to Fibron guys too, because they have I feel that they could do that in their Good Life line. They could put a color similar to this in their Good Life line.
Yeah, possibly, right? Because we border, that's a different brand for another day, I guess maybe.
Yeah.
We border their boards with other things all the time too, because they don't have a dark gray.
They don't have dark gray, but so Wolf listened. Yeah. I guess the moral of the story is we kept saying, hey, let's have something. These guys, not a closed book. That's part, probably what's really nice with a challenger brand is that you can talk to the guys and they actually maybe listen, right? Yep. They know that they have some markets they have to hit and grow in, and maybe that's it. Yeah, that was the board. So
that one's good.
It's awesome. It's good.
It's
been fairly popular since we had it.
Yeah, it would be a good border for silver teak, I think. It's probably the most natural fit for that. But like I said, we sell it with other things too. I just sold a deck yesterday that was using, here's a perfect example, Fibron Cottage with Wolf Onyx.
Yep.
So
there you go.
Great picture frame option for any gray colored deck.
The other reason I like that so much, the Onyx, is it's solid edge in 12, 16, and 20.
Yep.
Whereas Clubhouse solid edge is only 20 feet long for us.
Correct.
So you can sort of cut down on some of your waste.
Yep. And so that's a good transition point. We're done talking about the colors. We've gone through all these colors. Check out the YouTube video.
Oh yeah, we actually held the colors up, right?
Called what? Wolf Serenity Lineup 2019 or something like that on YouTube, on our YouTube page. And if you want to see these colors in person, as good as we are at describing them, if you want to see them, watch that video and you'll accomplish that. So you mentioned that the solid edge boards come in 12s, 16s, and 20s, and the reason for that is because they don't make them in any other way. They don't make them in a grooved board.
Yeah.
And in some markets, that nobody would blink an eye. In this market, people kind of go like, what? Well, then how do you put it down with those little clippy things? You don't. You could, I guess, if you wanted to go through the work of grooving it yourself.
Router it, right?
Router, or a biscuit joiner, or biscuit cutter, or a table saw. Like, it's a lot of work to do that. You're better off just using one of, I would say, three fastening options that we give our customers. And so the number one most common contractor used tool to fasten Wolf is the HidFast options, right? If you've ever used a hardwood flooring nailer, then you know exactly what a HidFast nailer looks like. Looks very much identical to a hardwood flooring nailer. Works very similarly to that. It shoots a stainless steel cleat. I don't know if it's a 45, but on some angle.
45-ish.
Yeah, through the side of the board into the joist, and then there's a protruding spike that sticks out the side of the board for the next board to get pounded onto with a rubber mallet. And then there's an integrated spacer, whatever you want, 1/8, 3/16, quarter, I'm sure. Choose your spacing. So that's one good way to positively connect the deck boards to the framing. So it's nice and strong. It's a very clean finish. Like you don't even see the clips. Like with clips, you see the clip.
Yeah.
This stuff, you see like a tiny little stainless steel 1/8 inch wide cleat.
It does look good.
You got to look for it.
Yeah. Sure.
It's gets you up off your knees. You can walk around and hammer that thing in from your feet, which is nice. It's quick once you get the hang of it.
Yeah.
It's expensive. The tool itself is expensive. The stainless steel cleats are super expensive.
Yep.
It's not for everybody. It's not a DIY tool. Like they could rent one and do it, but they're never going to buy one for one job. So the most common way that we suggest, especially the DIY market, fastens it down is with camo. Everybody's familiar with camo guns, camo jigs, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, it's a really good system for that.
It works great with this Wolf stuff. Gives you a positive connection down to the deck. Screws are reversible. If you happen to party too hard and do something to one of your deck boards, you can pull the screws back out, replace the board, put it back down.
Having a cigar after
Never
a
know
baby
what was
or something, right? If you burn the board.
Yeah, maybe. And the third option would be to screw it down. So you could screw it, face screw it. You could either do that with a Fastenmaster Trapeze 3 color match screw, or you could go one step further, and you should, and use Cortex plugs.
Yeah.
So drive that screw a little bit deeper, plug it up. So 3 different ways. That one's gonna be the most work, that one, because you gotta screw it all down, then you gotta go back and plug it all. And it's probably the least hidden fastener option.
Yeah,
the plugs are great, but you'll see them more than the other options.
Yeah, I think you see them still, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
You do. You see them. So
if you're looking, especially on a whole deck, right?
Yep.
So that's Wolf and how it gets installed. They've got a Wolf Pro program. So like most
it's a good program.
Every brand out there, they've got a loyalty program for their contractors. So that changes here. They released an app, and there's some cash back options. I'm going to do some more research to kind of go more in depth on these programs, but they do have a program for contractors. Probably the most appealing piece of that program for contractors and their customers is the fact that Wolf Pros, once they get certified, are able to offer a labor warranty on top of the standard Wolf warranty, the materials warranty, which gives you 5 years of labor warranty in case there needs to be some boards replaced. They pay for that too. So that's not something
fantastic. We saw that firsthand, right?
Yep.
So
the certification was simple. Mark Fisher comes up, does the certification. The contractors sit in the room for, I think it was about a 45-minute presentation just on kind of the product itself, how the install tips and tricks, what to expect with it, how do you work with it, et cetera, et cetera. And once you get all that information downloaded, you sign up and you get a little packet in the mail of some goodies and a certificate says you're Wolf Pro. Now you get a warranty.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
The standard warranty, I believe, is 25 years on fading and staining. So you've got that covered, and you get a lifetime structural warranty. Yep. Because it's 100% PVC with an ASA cap on it. Neither of those things are going to degrade over time, really. So you get a lifetime warranty on that. The ASA thing is something they talk about quite a bit. If you go to their website or do any research, you're going to hear it's it's a PVC deck board with an ASA cap. just types of plastics. ASA is the same kind of plastic that's used in car dashboards. You hear all the time from Wolf, and
So it's
that
really
just
good in
means
the
like
sun,
it's
right?
like it's designed to not fade or distort or fail in sun. Because what plastic in this world gets more like sun and heat than a car dashboard?
No kidding.
Like it's just sitting under a magnifying glass. So
All day.
it's protected pretty well from that. I don't know that there's a whole lot of knocks on Wolf, to be honest. Like it expands and contracts like a PVC does. So that's like it's not a Wolf thing, it's a PVC thing. It moves a bit, so be aware of that when you're doing your joinery, that you'll have to plan for or avoid certain types of joints because of that.
Yeah.
The fact that it doesn't have a groove board is maybe a bit of a drawback for the installer.
It's for sure a drawback on the DIY side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the DIY guys for sure are more familiar, more comfortable with just installing this kind of decking with clips. So it's a drawback for them. Wolf's reasoning behind it is like, hey, this stuff moves and expands and contracts quite a bit. The more fasteners you put into it, the more you limit that movement. So therefore, we don't want our stuff riding on clips where it can slide around and move too much. We want this stuff fastened down.
Yeah. They have their reason.
Fair enough.
It is, yep. Yeah, I know that you'll get the odd customer, not very many, and it's all in your sales tactic, right? But, it doesn't have a groove? Well then, let's find something that does.
Yeah,
it's like,
that happens.
wait a second. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It just means you're going to go about it differently. And then you talk about the advantages of how it's, when you screw the entire deck down, you secure the frame is now less likely to rack, so your whole deck is stronger. It's it's more solid. It feels more solid rather than having clips on it.
Yeah.
Fasteners are still sort of hidden. The camo fastener is not ideal because you can see the shoulder of it a little bit, but
the camo fasteners are cheap too, though. Like if you use just the regular coated steel ones, the ProTech ones, it's like 40 cents a square foot in Canadian dollars. So it's like 3.5 cents in American dollars.
Ish.
Probably 30 cents. Realistically, probably 30 cents a square foot. So it's cheaper than doing the HID fast nails.
Cheaper than clips, right? It's cheaper than the
cheaper than
Trex
clips. Yeah, that'd be like 80 cents or maybe 50 to 60 cents US a square foot. So it's the cheapest way to put it down too.
Yeah. I think that
this is all about just being unbiased and honest about things. So what's a knock?
a little bit. It's like it scratches a little easier than the other PVCs, and that's too bad because I really like the coloring, and it's not an impossible thing to fix. You take a heat gun to it, and we've done this. We did it out at the round lake deck that we did.
Yeah.
There were some scratches on it. You heat it up with a heat gun, and the cap kind of restores itself. I would say mostly, or enough that the scratches are gone, but.
Yeah, I would
That's
compare
my biggest knock against it.
For people's reference, I would compare it probably in scratch durability to AZEK, likely.
Sure.
Like it's not the most durable for scratch resistance. It's not bad though. But to your point, like we've seen that with our own eyes, a little heat gun.
Yeah.
And it makes most scratches disappear. If it's super deep, it won't. But like it's pretty neat how that works.
Yep.
So yeah, outside of like no grooved boards, and like for a premium board, maybe scratch is a hair easier than others, but there's a lot of benefits there. Great warranty, like some of the nicest coloring in the industry.
Everybody that walks in the store is usually drawn to the colors, right? Yeah. So they walk in and we have something like 100 colors on the wall now.
Yeah.
Walls.
You know what else? Before we forget, the customer service from these guys is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So there's some.
This is I was referencing earlier when we were talking about the Pro.
Yeah.
We've seen it firsthand. This is what I've seen firsthand.
So every board manufacturer at some point, or board brand, I'll say, at some point has a defect somewhere. Like everybody has it.
It happens.
Coloring, it fails, whatever. It's how you react and respond to those situations to make it right.
Correct.
Which is the feeling that you're left with the company, right? We've carried Wolf now for 2 years. We had one instance, and it was a very select few boards that, on fascia boards actually, that had some sort of defect where if they sat in the sun and it was one color, one lift, few of them bubbled up. They sat in the sun and something in the middle of the board delaminated and caused an air pocket in the middle of the board, and they kind of blew up a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, holy smokes, that's not good. And so we reported it. Man, they had that, like they were on it within.
There was no question of like there was just no question about replacing the board.
Yeah.
Find out how many boards the contractor needs, replace them, and then we'll deal with you on the other end of it.
Yeah.
Get the customer the boards they need to finish the job.
Yeah.
Okay? Done.
And so it was done. Those boards got replaced. They paid for everybody's inconvenience for having that happen. They
Correct.
paid for us to go out there and kind of, because they wanted to know, like, is this happening with, how many boards does this happen to? And it's like, well, there was, I don't know what there was. Say there was 10 on site at this customer's job. 6 of them did this. And, you know, okay, of that lift that you pulled, how many more do you have left there? Oh, there's 30 more boards. Okay, we'll pay you guys this time, keep track of everything, lay those out in the sun, see if it happens to the rest of these, give us the numbers off it so we can check our runs, whatever, and let's make sure this
Yeah, they wanted a serial number off of the board so they could tell when it ran. They basically wanted to find that Jeff guy and then fire him. Right? It was like, who did this? Yeah. So anyways, they were just trying to solve the problem.
But it just covered, like, they covered all the costs. They covered our costs for testing and finding it out, and for us getting the new boards to the contractor, and they covered the contractor's costs for replacement. Like, everything got covered. So it was
incredible.
Like, you have a bad thing happen once in a while, but I have no hard feelings about it. It was dealt with so efficiently. So.
And we've had that happen with other brands, and it's not like that. It's not nearly as
easy.
Smooth or easy.
Yeah.
Right? Tons of hoops, lots of paperwork. The customer's left angry. It's like, well, who's going to replace these boards on this deck? Well, the customer's going to. Well, they already paid to have it done once.
Yeah.
Yeah, too bad. So wait a second, he's going to have to pay labor 3 times because your product failed? How does that work? Well, that's just how it works.
Yeah.
Not with Wolf. With Wolf, it's like, oh, is he a pro? Yes. Good. Tell him to keep track of his time. We'll take care of all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so pretty well-backed warranty on them too. So
175 years.
Super accessible. So the last thing we'll talk about with Wolf, I guess, is just a quick touch on their endurance cabinetry. Like I said, they do have other products. They have exterior railing and whatnot too that we don't deal with a whole bunch, so I'm not going to speak to that. But we have had a little experience now with the Wolf Endurance outdoor cabinetry. Seems like great stuff. Like, I've kind of got a chance to price out a few jobs with it. It seems a little bit daunting at first. Once you get into it and do one or two, it's like, oh, this makes sense. It's all component based. It's just like, you know, there's, I don't know what there is, probably 20 SKUs if that. So it's a nice simple lineup. It's not too daunting or
it's not
confusing,
robust, if you will, right?
There's 3 color options, which is like good or bad. Like, it keeps it simple, but there's nothing that's going to blow you away. It's not awe-inspiring colors. It's white, black, and like a taupey kind of gray pewtery color.
Yeah.
But really nice stuff. Powder coated aluminum, so will not rust, will not warp outside. But because it's aluminum and not stainless steel, the costs are quite reasonable. The powder coating's nice on it. It's got all soft close hinges and drawers and whatnot in it, so it's a nice system.
Yeah.
So, like,
I want to get out to that one, out to the Pasqua Lake job when that's done.
Yeah.
Courtney should have that, nearly done by now, right? He picked those cabinets up last week, Monday. He picked them up Monday.
Yep. Courtney is the customer you're referring to?
Yeah.
Did this?
Yeah.
So a good option if you're looking for like outdoor cabinetry that's not cheap junk from a box store, but isn't also $3,000 a linear foot for cabinetry. Then Wolf's a good option. It's a lower price point with good quality.
So. Yeah, they look great. We had a little bit of time to look at them when we were down in the States. We went to Pennsylvania. We looked at them there.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. Showed up here. Looked good still.
Yeah.
So now we'll see what they look like installed. So.
Yeah. Whoops.
Anyways.
Knock over my drink here.
Yeah.
That must mean it's go time. If I'm doing that, knocking my drink over, it's go time.
Knocking your drink over, that's usually when I go home.
So that is the Wolf lineup.
As far as we know it.
As far as
there's lots more to
the
it.
stuff that we're experienced with. So if you have any questions with regards to this Wolf stuff, feel free to send us a message on Instagram at The Ultimate Deck Shop, or Mark Fisher's on Instagram too, and he's seems to be always more than willing to jump into a conversation about Wolf products. So if you have any questions about them and you're curious, try either of us. And
he's really accessible, right? Mark's good.
Really good. So that's Wolf. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is another week. I'm going to go back outside and sweat some more because summer's here. I'm not complaining about the heat.
Wedding season. I'm off to a wedding tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, not mine.
Not yours. Whew.
Close call. Right?
Yeah. That's a drastic change in your life if something like that happened. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We will see you next week.